This video is designed to explain how to do this classroom example 3 in our calculators. So we already have the information down by hand, and now we're going to put the data into our calculator and recreate this smushed up little box plot. So we need to turn the calculators on, check y equals to make sure there's no equations, turn our plots off, so we can do that by going up and hitting enter and making sure those aren't highlighted. Now we need to enter the data. We do so by hitting the stat edit. And we are going to enter this in a new list. So I'm going to insert a blank spot by doing second delete, and that inserts this, and I'm going to call it EX. So that's sign stow, and then I'm going to undo the alpha key to call it example 3. And now we're going to enter the data from example 3 into our calculator. And it doesn't really matter if you put it in order or if you use the list on the worksheet. And when we get all finished entering the data, we will do a stat calculate one variable statistics to see if we have entered everything properly. And there should be 20 pieces of data, so the last one, if you're following the order on this worksheet, will be 18. Okay, to double check to see if you have entered the data correctly, we're going to hit stat calculate one variable statistics. And now we have to tell it what list we put our data in, which is second list alpha E, which is the sign button, and it was EX3. And this should be the data page that we get. Anybody verify with me? Question? See if Parker can help you here for a second. Oh, what about Alex or Matt? Or I'll come help you in a second. All right, I'm going to move these data screens onto this so you can double check at home. And the other screen I'm going to put up is the second part of the statistics variable, one variable screen. And hopefully you can see how the 5-number summary right here matches what we did by hand. Okay. To plot this, we are going to choose second y equals, turn plot 1 on. I'm going to choose the fourth icon, which is the second one, or the first one on the second row. It has the 2 little dots, which means that it's the modified box plot. And I have to put in my list, which is EX3. And then I like to choose either the square or the plus sign for my outliers, because the little wee dot you can't see too well on the screen. How do we get the graph to come up in a nice window? Zoom 9. And that's what it looks like, all smushed up. Very similar to what we did by hand, just in a little bit of a smaller place. And if this were my homework, I would call this EX3 data. And I'm just going to put data points down here. We weren't given a context. And I need to put my window on. So if I choose window, that will tell me what my axis labels actually are. And I only need to label the X for box plots. It's 11.7 to 75.3. If this were a non-modified box plot, that whisker would extend all the way out, showing us that it is seriously skewed to the right. And that's the last thing we're going to do in our calculator. We are going to put a histogram underneath this box plot. Ready? We choose y equals, turn on plot 2, choose histogram, and put in our data list. And then when you hit zoom 9 this time, it will show up with a box plot and a histogram underneath it. And you can hopefully see that there's one little guy or a couple little guys out there, and it's skewed to the right. So I'm going to choose histogram and hit zoom 9, and you can see that it is actually a very unusual looking histogram, as it was a very unusual looking box plot.